Thanks for joining us. We're joined by Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs. She just gave her annual fireside chat here in Cochise County with Melanie Edwards Barton of the Sky Island Regional Partnership. Governor, thank you for joining us here afterward. I know you got a busy day. Real quick, so you're about to complete your first term as governor. You're running for a second term. In that time, what would you say your crowning achievement was for issues related to people of Cochise County or of rural southeastern Arizona?
I think really working to tackle the groundwater issues. Community leaders here have been huge champions for getting some meaningful rural groundwater reform done. I said from day one, if the legislature won't act, I will. We declared the AMA in Wilcox, in the Wilcox Basin. And I know how important that water supply is for this county's future. So that's been really important. And then I just think just a lot of our investments that help with workforce, economic development, childcare, all of those things that are helping to ensure that economic development is happening across the state, not just in some places.
And HR 1 is going to be a big issue, in state offices all over the nation. You talked a lot about that in your fireside chat. It especially relates to health and rural health. Obviously there's the numbers and there's a lot of talk. But have you found that people are really feeling the impact of that in their daily lives?
I think what I've heard especially from healthcare leaders, a lot of the cuts that we're going to see from HR 1 have not gone into effect yet. But we know that rural hospitals, rural healthcare providers are already planning for that. And so you're seeing some of the impacts of how they're mitigating the funding shortages they're going to see. And so it is already impacting access to healthcare across rural communities, which, as you know, is not just for those Medicaid beneficiaries that might lose their health care. It's everyone that relies on those systems for health care.
And here in Cochise County, Chiricahua Community Health is a big provider. It's been documented they're going through some significant financial challenges. Have you or any of your senior staff come up with a plan or have any ideas about how that could be helped?
We've certainly, we're not directly involved, but we know the impact of losing a big provider would be really harmful. And so, yeah, we're always working with our healthcare partners across the state to make sure that if there's things we can do to ensure their health, that we're doing that.
Space Force and Black Star Orbital and space ports. And he talked about not just Sierra Vista and Cochise County, but Arizona being a big home for that. What is there a big economic future for that in Arizona, do you think?
Absolutely. So we are on the cutting edge of a lot of future technologies like semiconductors, electric vehicle manufacturing. Aerospace and defense has always been a big industry here. And so we are just working to capitalize on that. And especially with the interest in space and how we can, we reintroduced the Space Commission to really leverage that and to ensure that Arizona stays at the forefront of that technology.
And are you privy at all to what's going on with the Space Force mission that potentially could come to Fort Huachuca? And do you think that's something that could be a realistic driver?
I think absolutely. I'm not fully briefed on the mission, no, but I think it is absolutely an opportunity for Arizona, and because we already have such a large aerospace and defense industry here.
And then another big economic driver appears to be data centers, although that is very controversial. We saw what happened with Project Blue in Tucson, and there's talk of it happening somewhere, maybe multiple places in Cochise County. Raises a lot of water concerns. What are your thoughts on data centers in general, and then in places like Cochise County?
Yeah, so several years ago, the state made a strategic decision to incentivize data centers and passed a significant tax incentive. That incentive has clearly worked because we're top 2 market in the world for data centers here. And I think there's places where they make sense. I think, as we've seen, these should be locally driven decisions. And in my State of the State, I called for a repeal of the tax incentive. This is something that has bipartisan support. We've seen Republican bills introduced to do that. So I'm looking forward to working to get that done to just ensure that this industry that is an important piece of the high-tech sector is not happening on the backs of Arizona taxpayers. But then also, you brought up the water concerns, that they are paying their fair share for water that they're using, water and power. And power is also a challenge part of why I launched my Arizona Promise Energy Task Force to address that. But I proposed making sure that data centers are paying for their water use. At your home, you pay per water use, and data centers should be paying the same.
You're in a very hotly contested governor's race this year. When it's all said and done, what will have been the issue, do you think, that decides winning and losing it?
I want to say, I'm not just saying this because it seems to be a bit of a buzzword, but affordability, it is top of mind when I talk to Arizonans. I've been focused on it from day one, and I know there's a lot more to do to address affordability in the state, and I think that is what I continue to hear from folks across the state.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Governor Katie Hobbs, after yet another successful fireside chat. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, yeah.